All right. So, special guest. Um, Unexpected in so many ways. Um, Through my previous guest, who um took me to emotional places. I would say, very interesting story and whatnot. Um, who is Chrissy, and then she mentioned you really like strongly and really adamant about like you and your story and everything kind of that you bring to the table.
Thank
So I
you.
was
Thank
like,
you for
"Ooh,
having me.
thank you for being here. Interesting story that you do have.
Mhm,
Um, so usually the way I do things,
mhm,
I like to kind of like give you the space. I do have like some concept that I really want to like talk about, but for
mhm.
the most part, I just start with kind of like a simple question: Who are you? Now, what I mean by that is, who are you before we know you as of
Mhm.
today, like upbringing and whatnot. And you take us as far as you want to take us, as deep as you want to take us. That's kind
Yes.
of like your time.
Okay. Well, my name is Somaya Reece. I am born and raised in Los Angeles. I'm a true Angelino. But I've been living in the East Coast for the last, 10 plus years, which is how I met Chrissy. And
Okay.
I am, I'm born and raised in Los Angeles. I've always been a dreamer of all things creative. I believe that anything you desire in life will happen for you if
Mm,
you really believe it. That's how manifestation happens. And not only that, but if you put forth the work and you execute and you keep trying and you don't take your failures as that and instead use them as learning lessons, stepping stones to build, you will always, always win.
I love that. I
Mhm.
love that. I love that. Now,
You can't give up on the first try.
hey, here, without even judging people, but some people would, you know.
Yeah. I mean, all of us would. Like, it's just like normal because failure is such an unknown thing.
Hmm.
You're hoping for the best and you fail and you give it your all and now you're like, no. So it is natural. But I have
Yeah.
learned that, failures have taught me so much. It's made my next move better. And without the failures, I wouldn't succeed. But I'm also someone
Mm,
that's always listening. I'm listening to what's happening. It's
yeah.
very important.
Okay. So, a couple of things we're going to touch on. It's really interesting, but take me back to LA growing up. Um, I would say like prepping for you was very interesting. I even listened to a whole podcast, which where you were on and just speaking and whatnot. Just trying to understand who you are. I just felt like I had to do it a little bit, and upbringing for people who may not know. So, interestingly speaking, I do have people like in Dubai or in the Philippines.
Mhm.
So, for example, for them, context. Um, how was all of that growing up, upbringing, and again, you taking us as far as you want to take us.
Sure. Well, I was born and raised in not the ideal circumstances. When people think of the American dream, that's
Hmm.
not where I was born into. I was born into my parents building their American dream and trying their hardest to keep food on the table, a roof over our head, and doing the right thing. And, going to school, getting educated, staying out of trouble, really truly fighting for their American dream. And in many ways, they did build it. And in other ways, they didn't because they definitely had bigger aspirations, but you are limited when you have nothing to start with and you don't have the resources and you don't know where to ask or who to ask, or maybe you're afraid to ask, And I think that that is what birthed my fire is to always just never be afraid of asking, never be afraid of taking the risk. A lot of times that is something that I learned. Like my father always told me, go for your dreams, daughter. Don't let anything
Okay.
stop
I
you.
love that.
Get educated in everything you want to do and learn to be better than the next, but also
Mm,
respect people. Be kind to people. Everyone has a story. Just because yours is hard doesn't mean everyone else's isn't either. Pain is
that part.
pain. Yes, pain is pain. My father taught me a lot of understanding, and my mother is a little bit different. She's more very like cold-hearted and very
Mm.
no. And that's where I also get that from. Like a
Okay, check now.
very equal balance,
Yeah, yeah.
but I was raised in South Central. It was hard. I didn't know it was hard. See, the thing is, when you're born, right, in poverty, in a place like South Central, you don't know you're poor until you meet
Mm,
other people outside of there, and then you're like,
yeah,
oh my God. Because for me, I mean, my life was, just stay out of trouble. I did have to fight for my backpack
yeah.
and being, luckily, I was real tall. So people were always scared of me. And I was also, I had a big brother and a father that always taught me to stand up for myself. So I didn't allow myself to be kind of thrown into the mix of things that weren't going to help my future. And I almost lost my life many times in that
Wow.
environment. But again, you don't know you're in a poor environment until you see things outside of your environment.
That
But
is true.
without being raised there, I wouldn't appreciate all of the wins. Without being raised there, some people, they leave the hood and then they forget where they come from. And I understand that. And that's built from two places. It's built from trauma
Mm,
because they're escaping what they don't want to be a part of or what hurt them. And then there's shame, right? You tell somebody, oh, yeah, I was born and raised in South Central. They're like, oh, or, "Oh, wow, I'm glad you survived." But
interesting.
for me, I have worked through my traumas, and I've never been afraid to say, "Hey, yeah, this is where I come from, and I'm really proud of being able to still, survive past it. I lived past it. I lived through it." And not only that, but never forgetting where you come from is truly a deep-rooted, it's gotta be in you to be that person, because I would never treat someone less just because I have more,
Hmm.
because I do believe
I
that
love
God
that.
can take away as well. And it's awful because I was treated awful. I was a maid, my mom growing up, and people
Yeah.
treated me terrible. And then we had some people that treated us very well, and they were really
Mm,
kind. They accepted us as family, and we grew up with their children, and so I learned a good balance of life. But I have decided to lead with love. I have decided that the world is better with love. And even when people don't treat you with it, you don't have to be as ugly as the world is. And that
mm.
is a choice. And I also understand when some people don't want to be like that because I get it. Listen, I'm sick of people sometimes, okay? Maybe 90% of the time. I'm crap, you know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I like to lead with love and I like to work through what I've been through instead of being a victim. I am a victorious. I am not
Oh, I
a
love
victim, I am
that.
victorious. And I would like that for other people. And I would like for other people to find their peace. And this was all rooted from coming from a place that literally almost took my life. And
Mm,
and did, actually, and did, but I survived. And I survived. And I believe that God allowed me to survive so I can tell my story in order to
mm,
help other people from all walks of life. Because where I'm from, the nationalities that are there is black and brown, some
mhm.
Asian. I grew up with Haitians, Jamaicans, like
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
American,
Yeah.
Latinos from everywhere, Guatemala, Mexico. Also grew up with my homegirls from, the Philippines, Cambodia, Thailand. So
Mm, mm,
I
mm.
got to see a lot of different things growing up, and I'm so
Yeah.
glad. I'm glad that I was also raised with a mother and father that kind of we didn't see people in anything other than their personality and how they were and how they treated us. So It was a different experience, that I believe I has shaped me and has given me the empathy for many people, and has also, at one point where I did feel that my heart was turning a bit cold because of a lot of things that you go through, and you're just
Hmm.
like, like what's next?
Yeah.
And I just really had to sit back and had a long conversation with my father. And my father was like, "No, daughter, don't ever let the world make you cold. Be smart, be tough, but you will get nowhere if you don't lead with love." I just talked to him actually before I talked to you, and he
Yeah.
was me this about a couple Bible verses, and we prayed together before I got on this podcast.
Wow.
That's just very important. And I'm also very fortunate. I'm a daddy's girl, and I'm a girl. My dad's a girl dad, and he just really instills so many really awesome things in me, and I use them in my daily life. And
That's
so did my
amazing.
mom in another way.
That's amazing. That's really, really cool. Wow. That's great. That's really great. Thank you for sharing a little bit of you.
For listening.
Uh, so uh, this is very interesting.
Mhm.
Very, very interesting. So from one side of the country to the next, and I'm not even talking about polar opposite. Um, quickly became an original cast member of like Love and Hip Hop.
Mhm.
Um, I'm curious to know what emotions and challenges did you face? One, arriving in New York, um, and then just to pursue a career, just I would assume a better life or opportunities or whatnot. Um, I'm just curious.
Well, when I went to New York as someone that didn't really know many people there,
Hmm.
one of the reasons was because I couldn't find the types of opportunities in music and in a certain type of genre that I was looking to work on. And it was
Hmm.
all in New York.
Yeah.
My friend, New Jersey Devil, who's the game's DJ, was like, he's from Jersey. He was like, you need to go to Jersey and New York. This is where the style of music you want, or you have to go to Miami. I wanted to do, like Celia Cruz, Pitbull style music.
Hmm.
Um, it's just a different vibe. It's very Caribbean forward drum, like, and then the West Coast, I love West Coast music too. Like when I was booked for like 8 summers in a row in the Bay Area,
Wow.
because I love the Bay Area and
Yeah.
just West Coast. But although I did do West Coast music, I wanted to pursue that. And I made the decision to say, I'm just going to go. I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen? I was born poor, so it wasn't like I wasn't really afraid, and I was raised in the streets, and that's not easy. It's like, they say if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere, which I did. But if you can make it out of South Central and make it through as a young girl alone, you won't
Yeah.
make it anywhere. And that's what I did. I just kind of went there without being afraid. I stayed in a women's shelter. Then I stayed in my friend's studio in his attic. I also stayed at his grandma's house on her couch. And I'm so grateful for it because to me, anybody that ever gave me even $5 for a piece of bread, some water, some shelter without asking for anything in return, I am so grateful for it. And I am so much more blessed than other people. So it was very hard, but I mean, everything in life is hard, and you'll never know how far you can go unless you try.
Hmm.
And that's kind of the motto of my life.
Yeah.
To try about 5,000 things until, and these are all things that I like. So it's not like you become a master of a lot. You do all the things you like. And
Yeah.
so to me, it didn't look aesthetic, but I didn't care. Because that's not for me what it was about, because I know what's in my heart. I know what I look like when I'm dressed up. So I'm not worried about how it looks like to other people. And I feel like if you can't respect somebody on their grind, then you're not somebody I want to associate with anyways. So I just kind of went hard and beasted. Here I am.
So very interesting. one thing I didn't know about you, um, actress too,
Yeah.
in a way. Um, appear actually in a couple of shows, movies, and whatnot. Um, have you always had that like creative mind, artistic mind, or that came just kind of as a little bonus throughout your journey? Because I was actually surprised. I was like, oh, that's
Yeah,
very
I
interesting.
started my career as a scripted actress,
No
and
way.
I studied at the Performing Arts Theater, and Film in Los Angeles, and then they also had a music center. I also studied at the UCLA Extension Center in theater. I also studied
Interesting.
in a master's class with Aaron Spicer. I was technically discovered, and I
Yeah.
started out as an actress, and I landed on reality TV because of my
Mm,
and how popular I was becoming online.
yeah.
I chose MySpace because Tom invited me on MySpace, and I gained millions of followers overnight as just an independent Latina,
Yeah.
you know, singer and rapper. I mean, I've done movies with Michael Jackson, Vivica
Yeah.
Fox, The Rock. I've had
Yeah.
commercials, Cicola en Español. I'm the first Latina Salvadorian to do it as well. And I'm the first Latina to do, the Maybelline. And I'm talking about for from them only having a lot of, people of one color and not too much ethnic. I kind of filled that whole space, and I started very small with like a small little non speaking role to a speaking role to a larger role. And I just kept working my way up. And it's been so amazing. I did Colgate, which is Colgate in
Hmm.
Espanol, and Colgate in English. I've had
Hmm.
billboards across the United States. My resume was very much stacked before I did Love and Hip Hop. While I was on Love and Hip Hop, I had 3 commercials running, but Love and Hip Hop never highlighted that. That's the one misconception that a lot of people had to go out and find about me. Love and Hip Hop portrayed me as like I was, just this girl coming to try to get a song or sign to Jim Jones, which was never the case. As you saw, I never asked him to sign me. I never flirted with him. I have a lot of respect for anyone that I work with. I'm not interested in sleeping with anyone in this industry like that. It's like, and I made that very clear. I made it very clear, like, even in an episode where like my producer is like, oh, what do you think? Because I heard he's single this and I'm like, oh no, I'm here to work. My mother and father instilled an impeccable work ethic, and that's where I want to stick to. And I believe in being professional first will take you much further. And I think with the current climate of everything that's going on, it's important, for you to display that you are professional. And that's what I choose to be. I also, I didn't go to school and all that training for nothing.
Yeah.
So that's where that developed. So I ended up there because VH1 contacted me, and prior to VH1, MTV had contacted me, and they offered me a show, but I wasn't ready to do a show about the LGBTQ plus community, and so I Tila Tequila ended up on it, which I really don't even like to mention her name, but she ended up doing the show, and I did not. And so I just kind of, reality TV was just kind of starting. Big Brother hit me up. I don't think I was really
Oh
ready.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but Love and Hip Hop worked out for me. And, what started out as a small role, I instantly became the star cast member. Um,
Sure did.
yeah, and I gave
Sure
them a
did.
run for their money because I'm not just some.
The one to try.
No, and I'm not trying anything sneaky or anything, that is it's just not me. You get
Mhm.
like I'm a vibe. You really got to tune in to feel my frequency. I'm not here
Mm,
to try to tune into other people's. Like I'm here to try to work,
mm,
that's it. I'm professional. I show up on time, I do my job
mhm,
and I leave.
mm,
I'm
mm,
not
mm.
really in a romantic relationship, like not at work. I just feel like every person I've seen do that, it just ends up disastrous. So I just want to avoid it.
Point made. So it's interesting that you said that the way you portrayed and whatnot. because I was actually about to say, so in season one and whatnot, I was literally about to say the way you were like portrait and whatnot seemed like you were like the average girl coming in and whatnot, and then kind of like shocking the world and whatnot. And I was literally about to ask you how did you experience it, but then as I was like getting into what you're about and whatnot, I was like, that's you're a full built like businesswoman like at that point already. So it was very interesting for me to like have your take on that and how you approach it because I believe you leave come back to it. I mean, you kind of like took over at that point, but the way you were initially portrayed, that's really interesting. When you said that, I was like, you literally took the word out of my mouth.
Yeah, no, I came in and I was like, okay, I see what they're doing. Cool. I'm gonna turn this into my favorite. That's it. It's all good. Like I said, every failure isn't a failure. I saw that they were, doing what they were doing, and then you know, there were moments that I tried really hard to, vocalize, "Hey, I'm not your enemy.
Yeah.
Like, let's just be cool." But it's really hard because you just don't know who to believe when you're in these scenarios, right?
Mhm.
And so I'm glad that the one thing that a lot of people got from me was that one, I don't give up. Two, I turn anything that is, maybe surface wise doesn't look good or whatnot into my favor as it works for me.
Mhm.
Three, nothing will stop me.
Yeah.
I'm going to become everything that I said that I was going to be,
Mhm.
success. And everybody didn't want that from me. Everybody wanted to they wanted to succeed, but they don't want to see me succeed because they probably also thought that I was just some random girl, coming in to shake up the block. But
Right.
what it was, I was just on my grind. I was
I
just
mean,
trying to,
you did kind of
I mean, of
did.
course I shook up the block because, it's me. It's me. But
Yeah.
at the same time, being on shows like this, it's I'm a very honest and transparent person, which is why reality TV keeps hiring me because I'm going to say it how it is, uh,
Apologetically.
unapologetically. The only
Mhm.
difference between me and a lot of people on reality TV is I'm not rah rah for the camera. I do not care about your ridiculous violent behavior just because more camera time. Like
Yeah.
so that's so out of my heart. If we can have a constructive, argument. In fact, you we could have any form of vocal conversations, whether you're saying what you say, but I choose not to engage in such ways because I see everything as a business move and the long term. There are a lot of people that can't sit in the rooms that I do
That part is very correct as well. They may think
because
they
of
can.
their behavior,
Mm.
you know? And my behavior has always been the same. I have never had any issues with anyone, any commercial, any movies that I've done. The movie that I did with Michael Jackson, the director, we actually just talked, and I'm going to be working on some more films. And,
Ho-
you can't,
Hold that. We'll get. Ooh,
I mean,
different.
again, this is all based on how your behavior is. People lose opportunities because they go on these shows and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna fight with everyone," and I'm gonna. To me that doesn't work for me or my soul. My
Ne-
soul
Yeah.
healing is so one top tier, and I'm not showing up to work and getting high blood pressure every single day by anybody. I got enough going on in my life that I do not need anything extra. And
Yeah.
they can't, they don't know how to, like, when you show up, you do whatever you do on set, they don't know how to separate that
Mm.
from their home life. Or some people do well because all they are, their whole life is a disaster and drama. But I feel that that's just not the life for me. Like, I'm good.
Okay. I mean, seems like your network. is truly your network
Yes.
when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
Um, Honesty is the best policy. So
Nice.
I remember you as you had memorable moment feuds um with a couple of cast members and whatnot. But when you look back at that,
Mhm.
um, one, how do you view those confrontation, and two, growth moment, necessary drama to you, or just something else?
Well, I feel that they all acted the way they did because they were being told something. So,
Okay.
if somebody, because I will tell you specifically, Chrissy, me and her talked when we came back to season 10. People were telling her, some girl from LA is in the studio with your man trying to flirt with him. I get it. I get how maybe, this person would have been like, excuse me? But for me, if something like that, you see, I have to remember too that I'm not everyone, right? So she acted accordingly and cast members acted accordingly depending on what was told to them, right?
Mm,
And there's only so much time you have on camera to try to say, hey, I don't want your man, like, at all. I don't want this. Like, I'm just, no,
yeah.
it's not me. Like, yeah, how can somebody believe that when they don't know who I am? They Google me, and then my magazine covers come up, or my MySpace page, but instead of doing a little more deep research and seeing that I have commercials, that I have films, that I have things other than, let's say, a sexy photo, then that's where it falls into the responsibility of that person to have looked a little deeper. But I can understand their point of view. But at the same time, for me, I acted accordingly. I spoke my piece. I said, hey, I do not want your man. I just want to do this song. And then when other people would try to fight me, I could tell that some people were doing it just for the camera. I also feel that my storyline was portrayed properly in the respect of, the being in the attic and, coming from nothing, minus that they didn't show that I was actually an actress, that I was on TV, that I was already doing things. So looking back at it, there's nothing that I could have done to make it better, make it in any way. It had to be that way because now I understand the way that reality TV works, right? We wouldn't be sitting here, and I wouldn't have gained all the fans that I have retained all these years if everything would have looked perfect all the time, right? You
Mm,
also, to me, I'm
correct.
glad that people saw that the way that I navigate conflict is, okay, we're gonna have an argument, but that's where it's gonna end because I don't care to put my hands on another woman. I love women. I go to bat for women. I'm a huge advocate for women. I don't think that that's something that works for me, although I'm not saying it don't work for someone else. For someone else, if that's their vibe, that's what they have to do. And I know that
Hmm.
from a bunch of different places. One, survival. Two, because that's all they've ever known. And I understand that people can push a woman to a point that that happens, but I
Hmm.
do not navigate arguments that way. I do not navigate, arguments in that way, which is, you know, maybe why some people are very popular because all they do is fight on TV. Some
Yeah.
people are praised for it and they're rewarded for it and that works for them. But I keep working because I do the things that work for me. But again, as you saw, I'm not someone who's going to back down, and whatever happens when I don't back down is the way that the story goes. And you can't really look back. There was a time when I first got off the show that I felt like this show, like, might ruin my life, my career, whatever. Because remember, I came from a very professional environment. None of my cast members, when I'm showing up, Michael Jackson's not trying to fight me.
Yeah.
I lived in the Neverland Ranch. Like, catered to. They had breakfast for us. They treated us, like, well. Like, I didn't come from this new reality TV environment, which is different. So I had to adapt to it. And you also have to adapt to all the different personalities.
Hmm.
And there's always somebody. I feel that there was a moment that I was like, why? But how would you know what's happening unless you're already there? You know what I mean? Show up to work. I didn't know that was going to happen, but I'm not going to back down. I'm not
Yeah.
going to. But at the same time, I just don't feel I need to escalate things and navigate my arguments in other ways. So that worked for me. And then they kept, kind of bringing in cast members to stir up the pot and do things like that. And again, I navigate what works for me. Everybody does their thing, you know. And if someone's thing is they choose violence, then that's what they choose. I'm not there to tell them that what they're doing is wrong, because that's what they know and that's what they're going to do. But that is not me. That is not
Yeah.
me. I'm fully not interested in that. Like, if we can't talk about it, if we can't sit and talk like adults, I just really I already tuned out. I tuned out a long time ago. It's just not worth it for me. Again, I my behavior has truly kept me working, and it also allows me to be in rooms that many people cannot be in.
Absolutely not. And you're all right. Interesting. Interesting. So all of that, the move, experience, upbringing, and whatnot. You end up, I would educated assumption, ended up finding your groove, your touch in music. I mean, you launched a couple of like viral tracks um, that are well known. Um, Even the most recent one. Um, how has your sound and creative process evolved over time, over the years? And I'm just talking about your music, really.
Excuse me, I'm having a cough attack.
No problem.
I put it on mute. Hold on. Oh my God, I know I didn't live this long, and then I'm gonna die from swallowing my own spit. Excuse me. All right, let's get back to the question. You repeat that?
Yeah, that's it. So I said, so overall, like the move, upbringing, and whatnot, your music, you were looking for like your groove, your style, and you felt like back home that wasn't really what you were trying to get to at the end of it. You recently like released a new song. You had a couple like viral tracks, multiple. Um, I just wonder how your sound evolves over time, or your
So,
creative process. I would say how you approach it.
so what I've noticed about my creative process with music is that, it's really interesting how music has evolved and has circled, right?
Hmm.
So when I became the number one friended person on MySpace, I record labels were offering me deals because of the virality. Because one song had like 45 million spins. Like, I mean, it's you have room to develop an artist, right? And at the time, the songs that were kind of doing better than others were the party songs, which is where my heart was at, because I've always been a
Mm.
very kind of festive person, I guess is the best way I can put it. I just would rather, so I like a variety of music. Like, my playlist is very, very vast, I have songs that are R&B. I have songs that
Okay.
are even country, love country, Christian music, gospel, and then you have like Pitbull records,
No.
and then you have rap, different types of rap. So I was more looking for something that was going to make me just not make me, but just happy, alive. Music is really alive, instrumental.
Hmm.
Caribbean, salsa, cumbia, all of
Yeah.
that. Love
Oh.
house music. So I think that it has evolved in the sense that if I have a message to say, then I put it out there on
Hmm.
the record, right? And so that is kind of how my music has evolved. So right now, my space that I'm feeling is I'm feeling storytelling music, sad girl music, music that makes you think, music that is, a little bit of R&B, a little bit, which is how Todo Va a Estar Bien is with that had Afro beats behind it. And then I
Yeah.
turn out as a Gemini and then I make Get It Girl, you know? So, but these are the spaces that I live in. So that's what I'm creating now. I have been working on a music project and
Hmm.
it's not finished yet because it's very specific of how I want it to sound. And it's somewhat mellow because it's R&B, Afro beats, um, a lot of songs about my story, um, singing, some
Hmm.
rap on it, but it's not very hip hop forward. So this is going to be a little bit different for my audience because Todo Va a Estar Bien was very different for my audience, but it was well
Very
received.
much so.
Very well received because they were like, when I did Would You Still Love Me, a lot of people were like, oh, you should like try singing more. And I'm like, I mean, I can sing, but I don't know, I wasn't in the space of wanting to do that. I was very kind of party mode, a little bit more aggressive. And sometimes I feel that. But currently at the moment, the space that I'm in, I'm kind of on this healing journey. And that's what I want to put into the records. And so it just depends on my tone. I'm also a very true Gemini. So I could want to
Okay.
hear some calm, chill meditation music, and
Yeah.
then I'm gonna turn on some Cardi B. And then I'm gonna turn on a little Nas later on. So
Okay.
never know. So I'm a huge hip hop head. I'm a huge R&B girl. Like it's just what the vibe is. It just depends what the vibe is, what I'm feeling.
Okay. We can feel it in your music, and which is amazing. Um, you're a citizen of the whole world. I mean,
Thank you.
you represent so many cultures at once, and it's amazing,
Thank
honestly.
you.
So that's pretty cool.
Pause for half a
Um,
second. Just half a
yeah.
second. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's right, because you're gonna edit it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're the man. Thank you. Give me one second.
You're welcome.
I live like in the farm country, basically.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of like dust. And
Yeah.
so aside from the pollen, the dust gets you too.
Ah,
So
yeah.
yeah, it's awful. But right now they're doing some landscaping next door because we have horses. I know it sounds crazy,
Mhm.
but like my neighbor's walking a horse right now.
Oh, okay.
That's the kind of vibe I'm living in now.
Seems really chill though.
Yeah,
Relax.
of it. Then that's what's reflecting in my music right now. You know?
Sure.
Yeah, I live in the countryside. I live, on acres of farmland. Like this is deeply going to be reflective in my new music. So,
Okay.
but we still got to give
Okay.
like, dance tracks because we still want to turn up sometimes.
Uh huh. Sure do. So we'll get back to that.
Hmm.
But um, entrepreneurship, um, combined with your healing journey. Stay with me on this. Um, I love wellness. I love to like ask my guests about wellness. How do you deal with it? Some
Hmm.
people do some yoga, some people cook, some people work out, some people travel, some people spend time with their loved ones, some people it's a mix of all of that. Um, you built,
Hmm.
are building a whole wellness empire, which surprised me. I mean, the tea, slim tea that you have, amazing, amazing work. And then you have your, I believe, the special closet that you have as well.
Hmm. It's
Combined
called
with all of that,
it.
yes.
Mhm.
But not only though, from even your music owning. your stuff, and even a TV host, which parenthesis another another thing in your
But the gardening, don't forget about Garden Betty.
and gardening as well. So and so much more. Really, truthfully, what drove you into transitioning into entrepreneurship? Because some people may want to grow financially and whatnot, but not in this way, I would say. And then you're kind of flourishing and building everything and just keep growing and growing. So one, what made you kind of like transition to that? And two, how do you even balance your personal life with all of that?
So, entrepreneurship is not for everyone. That's what I tell people all the time. Entrepreneurship is, you have to take the good with the bad. Remember
Mm,
how earlier I said you can't look at a failure as a failure. You have to look at it as a stepping stone. You have to keep trying. You have to keep getting up, remaking your plan, adjusting, pivoting all the time, and executing. So for me, I always had the entrepreneur spirit in me since I was a child. You
wow.
know, at don't remember this too much, but I have the pictures to prove it. My father said when I was like 3, 4 years old that I charged my whole family 25 cents or 50 cents to watch me perform and sing happy birthday. So I was already on my grind.
That checks out. Okay.
And my father told me that ever since I was little, my mom did too, like that I've always been really interested in like making money in an entrepreneur space versus like a corporate space.
Hmm.
Oh, I do like a lot of like corporate creative jobs are in
Hmm.
careers are like amazing for me. Like I love tech.
Yeah.
I love graphic design, web design, film, television. These are all things that I've always liked, but the little young girl with big dreams in South Central didn't know that that would turn into what I'm doing now. When I was I think 8 years old. I forgot the exact age. There was a Hallmark competition in our art class for our school for all the public schools and the elementary schools.
Hmm.
And you did submitted designs, and if you won like it was like a small grant or whatnot. So I made a bunch of cards, like Hallmark cards, and I freehand painted them, and I won a 10K grant, and I also won um, my admission, my grant to get into an art school, which is
Wow.
how I later on went to performing arts school. And
Interesting.
this is all something that it's like my life has, without knowing, started young with these big ideas, and I just didn't give up, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what the entrepreneur space is about. And it's also about doing things that you really love. If
Hmm.
you don't do things that you love, you most likely will not be successful at. Although you do hear of once in a while people becoming very successful, but like they hate their job or like they hate what they're doing.
Yeah.
This is very common, right?
It
So
is.
for me, I've learned, and I learned this really young in life, that in this country, you have to have multiple streams of income to survive.
Mm.
Have to. It doesn't matter. Like if even if one business takes off and you make a million, a couple $1 million, we live in a country where taxes are high. You have all these different things. I mean, DoorDash has a fee for a fee.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so
That's oh wow. Yeah.
yeah, it's the truth. And so
Hmm.
then we can also take that further, where
Hmm.
if you're someone that is content with not having a business, kind of showing up to work and catching your check, there's nothing wrong with that either. the one thing that I have learned too as being a business owner is that you can't push being a business owner to other people. You ever hear some people like, oh, well, you should be a business owner. It's not for everyone. Everyone doesn't want that. And I don't think that anyone should pursue things that maybe they don't want to do. You know what I mean? You should want to do what you like. I love fashion, which is why I started Samaya's Closet. It actually
Okay.
started as a very tiny boutique in Hollywood Boulevard, like when I
Okay.
was on MySpace. And then I took it off and then I put it back online. You know, you can look this up all the way to 2011. Then I
Yeah.
started it back up on Instagram. And then recently I partnered with Poshmark
Hmm.
to take it to the next level because I've always loved fashion and I started my boutique with like just brand new fashions. And then I met a lot of celebrities who were like, oh, you should do a closet. You can like resell, what you're wearing to fans that want to wear it because people also like to buy used items. Either it's because they're a fan or it's because they're looking for a good discount for an item that still is in good condition. So the reselling market is an entirely different beast. And the interesting thing is that I have been very successful in the e-commerce space. So Samaya's Closet started on just e-commerce. It was just samayascloset.com. We've done Shopify and Big Cartel. And for a long time, I was just doing it in that space, right? This is just one business. The This Fits Me brand is This Fits Me Wellness and Beauty. And that is where the slim tea exists. We have a master cleanse. We have a juicy line. We now have a bath and body line made of non toxic ingredients, ethically sourced ingredients. We are transparent with all of our ingredients as well. And that took off on its own because I love wellness too. Because wellness is something that I don't really think, unless you have parents that are really into wellness and like they're nutritionists or they know a lot about nutrition, like you don't, these aren't things that you learn, right? So you learn them later on in life. And when I was pretty sick, like on the inside, because I had a lot of eating disorders, and I didn't know the difference between being healthy and then having this eating disorder. That that's what helped kind of birth my brand, This Fits Me. So This Fits Me started because one, prior to that, I'd always been blogging about, fashion, about health, about working out, hiking. In California, hiking is like the thing, or like
Yeah.
going for runs on the beach. And that's kind of like the thing out, in California. And
Uh-huh.
so I've been talking about it for a long time. And this is all, Googleable. So this has always kind of been in me, but I didn't know I could turn it into like a business. And really what happened is that as I started to really take my health seriously, there were a lot of things that I had to like unlearn. I also had wrecked my body, my colon, my heart, my blood pressure. And this is as someone that on the outside looked very slim, very healthy, but my
Hmm.
insides weren't. So the slim tea started because that's actually a recipe that is comes down in many generations in our family that our family gives um, to their children or to whoever needs it to kind of help detox your body and like kind of reboot your system along with the juicing line. So this is something that we were doing at home already and my mom inspired me. She was like, why don't you put it up online? Maybe it might help one of your fans, like maybe you should do a fitness class and help people and teach them what you're learning. So it was a bit of like a learning curve. I did it with my whole heart and I still do it with my whole heart because I wanted to help other people that were maybe suffering in silence like me. No one really knew that I was actually unhealthy.
Yeah.
No one knew that. No one knew I was unhealthy. Maybe visually I didn't look it. And so I turned it into a business. And then it just grew from an idea to a family recipe to starting small, packing things in my room, in my kitchen. And then having a manufacturing company come in, and we started the company with a little bit more than $500, some bins, a small company that helped me, put together the packaging. And well, we put together the packaging, but I mean, like the things that we need, the materials.
Mhm.
And it quickly turned into a multi-million dollar brand within 6 months to 1 year. And it has been going strong since. And what I did is that I not only started this brand, and even though it was going successful, like it was becoming successful, I didn't let go of the initial mission, which
Mm.
is teaching people that healthy is like the new in shape, the new skinny, and that one size does not fit all, because
That
everyone is, you know, just because you're slim doesn't mean you're in shape or
Mhm.
healthy on the inside. I was proof of that. I have a friend of mine that's a plus size model, and her genetics, now she's solid. Like, she doesn't have any cellulite to touch.
Mhm.
She's solid. And she can run faster than I can. Okay. But visually, you would think, like, oh, she's big. Why is that your friend? Give her some slim tea. Like, I've had
Mm.
people like that say that, which is why I stopped posting her, because I think that that's not right for people to bully my friend.
Yeah.
And what they don't know, she's healthy, very, very healthy. But that's her genetics. She's also Samoan, and she's built like a Hawaiian, just gorgeous. And
Yeah.
she's a successful plus size model. And this, again,
Right.
is my root mission. My
Yeah.
root mission is to show people all the different ways of wellness. Wellness is also in your self care routine, which is what birthed my bath and body line. I make handmade soaps. These are made with non-toxic ingredients. These are not only are they just good for you in general, but they cut out all of those ingredients that are, unfortunately, you hear it all the time. The soaps have recalls. The soaps are causing cancers. The lotions. Just this
Yeah.
whole space is something that I want to, like, I want to change that narrative, and I want to show people how to hone in on their wellness, because it's bigger than just like, oh, I'm going to give myself some skincare just because I want to feel pretty or look pretty. This is like an overall soul experience, and it's good for your health for the long term, you know? And we have a lot of people that actually, will argue back and say, like, oh, we're all going to die of something. I mean, this is true, but the quality of life that you can live up until that point can very much be controlled by you
Yeah.
as best as you can, because we also have to consider the economical systems, the environments, what people are born into. But little tiny things that you could do to better yourself is better than nothing. I really always want people to know that you don't have to be rich to be healthy. You don't have to only buy organic. You could go for a walk. I was doing it when I had nothing, you know? And so I know that it is possible. So that's kind of where all of these spaces have been created. And each one is for a different reason. This fits me. My wellness and beauty brand is because, like, beauty is not in one size, it's not in one color, it's not in one skin type. Wellness is also not in only one type of, healthy person, because health is also in the mind too. We also promote therapy. I have a really good friend of mine that does hip hop therapy. I have another friend of mine
Oh.
that does therapy for athletes. And I have another friend of mine too that does therapy for women and men who are suffering childhood trauma. This is all part of wellness. Wellness is a much bigger space than what people think. But
Indeed.
it all begins truly with your health, because sometimes we don't realize that our health could be failing us because we are also clouded with all this other unhealthy things that are going on in our life. And this is all a space that I want to be a part of, because I want to be a part of the change. I want to be a part of helping people. I want to be a part of all of the things that where someone, when they think of me, they think of, not only did I inspire them, but I also help them see things from another perspective. in versus, looking at things in a perspective of like anger and trauma, we can turn that around, slowly but surely for those that want that. Because we can't, again, as I mentioned before, force these things on people. We want people to come and approach this in a natural way, right? I want them to do it because they want to, because that's when you'll be successful. Just like when if you ever want to change something, you'll never change unless you want to do it. Think about it. Think about all the bad habits that we have had. You didn't change them until you were ready. You were sick of yourself.
Your health is your wealth.
Your health is your wealth. And then the entrepreneur space, I love it. I mean, there are times that sometimes it has been very overwhelming for me because, I mean, anything when you rely on yourself, it's difficult. You have all these other factors going on in your life, but I love it. I love wellness, I love fashion, I love podcasting, I love talking to people, and all of this matters, And then, like I said, I partnered with Poshmark, and that's actually thanks to Chrissy because I was just on e-commerce and she was talking about her Poshmark. And I was like, hey girl, I'm really I love Chrissy, by the way. Like that's a real one. Okay.
I just realized they come. Oof.
Love everything about her because she's so true in her ways, so honest, so transparent, which is so rare. And, I just kind of happened to ask her about it. And she was like, oh, no worries, girl. I'll introduce you to everyone. I'll show you what you got to do. And then, I'm like, okay, so this is, something that I'm continuing, but now I'm partnered on a platform that is, uh, larger than just my e-commerce. And you can't be afraid to try new things. Again, like I said earlier, don't be afraid. Just go for it. Take the risk. Take the risk. And gardening has been my safe haven too. Gardening is another brand that I
Talk
started.
about it. Interesting one. I was like, oh wow.
I know, right? So part of wellness is I started growing my own food. So I learned to grow any kind of veggie you can think of. Again, I live countryside in the farmlands. Like there's like a farm next door. I was just mentioning my neighbor right now is walking his
Yeah.
horse. And
Yeah.
then my other neighbor over here has goats. So,
Yeah.
we go over there and get goat cheese and they're great. And then my good friend, he is an amazing farmer and someone that I can call and ask questions about. And I've learned so much. And so when I acquired my property, that was my idea is to take wellness to the next level, to
Mm.
truly be someone in that space because we don't really have a lot of people in that space that are doing it for the community. Because this is much bigger than just me. Again, I'm very much about helping others and I'm huge on community. So we started growing oranges, our apple tree. I'm actually going to film some content today about our apple tree
Oh,
and yes, and we have every time a lot of different types of citrus. Our peach tree is doing well. We grow tomatoes. I've now become like the tomato lady because I grow a variety of tomatoes. I mean, so many
tomato
tomatoes.
lady.
Yes, I've got salsa beds, is what I call them. So
Oh,
it's a garden bed with everything that you need to make salsa of different levels. I don't like
I'm a foodie, so this is music to my ears.
perfect. So I've got
Ooh.
habanero hot, and then I've got kind of
Mm.
medium hot. I don't really like mild, mild.
Ooh.
Kind of a little bit up there on that. I grow.
Yeah.
I have a macadamia nut tree. I have a walnut tree. Um, what else am I growing right now? The peppers. Oh, garlic,
Oh,
onions.
garlic. That's interesting. Mm.
Garlic, onions. And then I started gardening with flowers. So flowers is kind of like my new thing right now.
Okay.
I have a very successful cottage garden that I just built, and I've been putting this on my TikTok so everybody can kind of follow the journey.
Yeah.
But the gardening, I actually started making because the one thing about gardening is that I want to tell everyone, don't grow more than you can eat, right?
Mm.
I grow more than I can eat because I also provide it to our local food banks. and I also
Okay.
provide it to a lot of like a community locals, and I also sell veggie and garden boxes on my blog, which is can be found on actually on shopthisfitsme.com. So you'll see
Mhm.
blog. The garden boxes are about to go up because the apples are ready. So we usually do veggie boxes, we do citrus boxes, and you can buy it. And everything that I grow is organic, no pesticides. So I'm constantly fighting with bugs because I'm as organic as I can, but I
Yeah.
make it affordable. I make it affordable so that like anyone can buy it as long as they're willing to pay for the shipping. And I do give a lot of food away to the food banks. And it's very important for me to still stay within the community and helping others. And I hope that by being someone with such an influential platform that I can teach people that you don't have to just do things one way. I always tell people all the time, if for me, my gardening is my peace of mind because I have such a, other things that I do, like I've got like, the businesses, right? So I can't just be business all day. I need to have my time, me time,
Mhm.
and part of that is my gardening. And then now I'm turning my gardening into a business. And part of the business model is that we're not only supplying nutritious food for other people, but we're also inspiring other people to grow. So I'm hoping that I can help other people grow, and this will be turned into something much bigger. I also show people how I cook with the vegetables I grow. So I make cooking videos
Oh,
live.
do you
And
have guests on there yet?
do I have what?
Guests on it
Not,
yet?
not yet, not yet.
Oof.
But as of right now, I've just been like posting about it, and we will because I do have a lot of people interested, and it's just to me a very exciting thing to do because if you think about it, I always tell people this all the time: don't follow the crowd. They're all lost.
What do you mean by that? I see where you're trying to go with this, but what do you
Mhm.
mean?
So I feel that a lot of things that, for instance, right, social media is a huge driving platform to how people perceive reality, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So me, I like to do things how I like to do, not because they are like everyone else.
Mhm.
A lot of people that are in the crowd, right? You have different
Yeah.
types of crowd. When I say don't follow the crowd, they're all lost. It's because everybody out there still finding their way.
Mhm.
So, in a sense, everyone is lost until you know what your way is. So don't follow, right? Create your
Mhm.
own path. Work for your own, like, work on what you want to do. And who cares how it looks to other people? It doesn't matter
I
how it
mean,
looks to people,
it
right?
doesn't really matter, yeah.
Works for you. Do you know how many people like were like, "What the hell? You're gardening now?" And I'm like, I mean, well, I've been giving food to food banks this whole time, but I just didn't post about it. And then I was inspired to. And then now I have a community of people I mentor. I'm currently mentoring 14 people
That's
to start
amazing.
their own gardens. And some of them are urban gardens, some people are in apartments, a couple of them are in their own house.
Mhm.
And this is just like, again, what I say, don't follow the crowd. They're all lost because you have to find what works for you and do what's for you, not for the crowd, not for the applause. Don't follow what everyone else. If everyone's wearing white, wear red.
You didn't even say black, you said red.
Because you want to.
Clickbait.
Because you want to. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So
Yeah,
for me, it's very important for me to continue to remain an individual in the things that I like because your people will find you. Your people will
absolutely.
find you. And I tell people all the time, no one knows what they're doing until they learn. It's
Mhm.
all learned. Everything is learned. Everyone's finding their way. This is why I have so much grace for so many different types of people because some people they just don't know better because they're following the crowd. They're like, "Oh, let me go over here because everyone's doing this." Well, don't you want to do something else? Maybe something you always wanted to do, but maybe you're afraid. Don't be afraid. You know, I kind of like want to always be that person for people.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean, but it's a lot deeper than that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Didn't you make it to Forbes?
Yeah. Entrepreneur. Entrepreneur, I made it to business, business entrepreneur, Yahoo Finance, CNN. And again, I wouldn't have acquired all those accolades or awards if I had given up.
It that's the beauty and kind of like your story.
Can't give up.
That's which is amazing. So, um, healing journey, um, which is very interesting. So you shared profound trauma from the
Mhm.
past and whatnot, personal relationship, losing a child. Um, how all of that shapes you, um, especially some people will never go through that, but how does that shape you deeply? Really, I would assume it leads you to some self discovery. Some people would fall into the other side. You decided to fight, and here you are right now, shining, smiling, doing all your things. So congrats to you on that. Um, but how all of it, music, wellness, gardening, getting into all these business ventures and whatnot, fate,
Mhm.
role of your family, loved ones, at the end of the day, as human beings, we are social creators.
Yes.
How all of it played a role in your healing journey, your healing process.
Well, a healing process for me was very brutal.
Oh,
It still has involved a lot of release,
hmm,
of dark days.
yeah,
Just because I don't give up doesn't mean that I haven't thought about it. It
hmm,
doesn't mean that I haven't had doubts.
mm,
It doesn't mean that I haven't been hit with many storms.
hmm.
Healing is something that I thought was a destination. I thought, oh, you get to one place, then you're okay, right?
It's the
And then
journey.
and then God and life says, we got more for you. you know, and so what I've learned about this healing journey now that I can see it much clearer is life and healing is just all about one big WTF to the next. There's
That part is
nothing going on.
real. And it seems like the stronger the as you climbing, like, you know
The more,
levels in life, issues get bigger,
yeah, and
or
different
the whole
things.
different angle.
hmm And there's different things that happen, you know,
Yeah.
different for everyone. And it's not
Yeah.
like, I never try to like portray a perfect life. I never try to. I think for me, my biggest thing about like healing has been that, I have suffered, feeling terrible, not wanting to get out of bed, having really bad health days, having no hope, and then having to remember that I have to continue on my mission, which is you have to lead by faith and not by sight. Because if we lead by sight, then sometimes those current situations that are happening don't let you see forward. And I am a true believer that, like, I have overcome a lot, but there's no destination. It's like you constantly are going through something and you don't ask for all the traumas. Sometimes someone can give you a trauma that you didn't even know was coming, and now you're left to heal with it, right? And there's never an ending, there's no such destination, but if there are some people that have chosen to give up, and
Mhm.
we don't know how much pain they went through to feel that way. And I can only
Mhm.
imagine the enormous amount of pain because I have felt that way. But what I have also learned is that as long as I wake up breathing and I've got a roof over my head, I've got food on the table. I've got just the things that are really truly like necessary, real true wealth and riches. I don't really have a lot of family. I don't really have a lot of friends. Guess what? The ones that are there, that's what matters. I don't need this crowd of friends and family that are not going to be there for me and that I can't be there for them or they're phony or they wish me harm. Because all of your surroundings is a huge piece of your healing journey. And for me, as long as I have all of those things, I am grateful. Every day that I wake up, I suffered something extremely traumatic about a year ago. Every day that I wake up, I am like so thankful I'm alive.
Mm.
Prior to that, when I was a child, I I cannot begin to tell you that I am 9 lives, truly. We all are, because we all have been through so much, as people, as a society and whatnot. But for me, that even when I have bad, so sometimes I've had some really bad days, right? But I really truly always try to be like, no. Well, one, I'm not giving up.
Mm.
That's not going to happen. Maybe I might feel it temporarily because this is human nature. No one's made of steel. I don't all these, sometimes I hear of these self-help people and these TED Talks and people are like, I never gave up. You're a liar. You're human and it's okay. But that is also part of something I don't want to be a part of. I don't want to
Yeah.
be part of people that are like that. I'm a part of people that it's okay to go through something and talk about it or not talk about it. Don't do it until you're ready. Maybe you're never going to be ready, but you can't give up, right? When you give up, that's when you just let everything win. And how far do we know how far we can grow if we keep giving up? And you're going to give up a few times. I've felt many times that I was very uninspired because something happened, you know. Um, let's say, or a family member did something to me and it just made me feel terrible. Well, I will say this: I'm alive.
Mhm.
I am able to wake up, go to
Mhm.
and grab some food, make a salad,
That
make
part.
make juice. I have clean water. This all of these things are very important to me, and they're all part of the healing journey. But the number one take that I got from a healing journey is letting go of the idea that it's a destination.
Mm.
Once I let go of that, I was like, oh, okay. So basically, life is one big what the moment
Yeah.
after the next.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's literally what it is. Even the people that we can see this publicly happening with people. Oh, wait, look. So these are my tomatoes
Oh,
for
wow.
today. Let me
They
take them out.
look fresh too.
Yep, this is a San Marzano
Wow.
de Italia. This is a heirloom, which is why it looks kind of funny.
Uh-huh. Wow. Look
Just
at that.
picked these last night. And this is my stash. But I'm gonna have a stash for the public soon.
Wow.
My
They
assistant.
look good.
Yeah. But to me, that's true wealth. And the healing journey never ends. Like I was so confused. I look back at it now and I'm just like, why did I think that healing was a destination? I think it's a destination we want to get to as far as like, you want to get to your peaceful place, you want to feel better, whether it's a mental health, a physical health issue, whatever the case is, once you let it go. It is not a destination. It's ongoing.
Process, yeah.
It's fine. Process it. And as long as you're alive, and even if you're not in one piece, you're alive, you're
You
okay.
are, yeah.
You are. You're okay. And so that's kind of
Seriously.
important, for me. And yeah, learning to let go was kind of a really big deal for me with the healing journey because I still go through it, but I talk about it. I talk about it because it's important.
It is really important.
Hmm.
So we're getting into like what I call the fun part, or like Um, and then you talked a lot about doing things your way.
Mhm,
So I put quote unquote love beyond gender norms. And
mhm,
stay with me on this.
mhm,
So you've been open about your sexuality, relationships, and things of that nature. When I'm seeing all of that, I'm just like, how all of it, your experiences and love, really, and you really opening up and whatnot, how that influenced like who you are, your identity, but
mhm,
even your artistry, like as an artist that you are, music and everything you're producing, making, so on and so forth.
mhm. Well, I truly believe that, you love who you love,
Mm.
and um, love is very different than lust.
Oh, okay. You got my
Okay.
attention.
Love is very different than lust. Because sometimes
Mm,
we might be attracted to someone simply because of the desire and the lust behind it. We don't
mm,
really love them. You might even stay in a relationship because of that, but you don't really love them. Love is a very different emotion, feeling, and then you have attraction, right? Attraction also falls back into lust. For me, love is very important. And I've looked back at, if we look back at some, moments, let's say for me personally, and for you too. If you look back at like some of the relationships you've been in the past, maybe some just friendships, situationships, you realize that there really are these two things. There's love, and then there's people you were just attracted for, maybe lustful for, maybe it worked out, maybe it didn't. Maybe it
mhm,
was a one night stand, maybe it was a week, maybe it was long distance, and then you met and you decided,
mhm,
know if this can work out, right? I've always led my life with love. So it has caused me to, you know, um, meet different types of people. But I think that one of the things that I have always enjoyed about a person is, I love humor, I love a good personality. I can look past a lot of flaws because nobody's perfect
mm.
until I see, this is definitely not going to work. But there are some people that I have wholeheartedly loved, very like this little. But some people I have had love for,
Yeah.
and some people was just really an attraction. It was
Mm,
lust. It was not love, you
yeah.
know. And then I definitely had a few situations where I was, duped, lied to,
Mm,
and what I have learned about every single person that I have ever been with is that I think that maybe from a young age, I've always really fallen in love with just like people. So that's
okay.
kind of how it's been for me, you know? And, you know, some were good for me and some were not good for me. And maybe some I wasn't good for them. But either way, life is one big experience. So, however you choose to experience it, I make no apologies for it. And I will continue to just live my life that way. And I believe that that's how everyone should live. I don't really, I don't force anything down people's throats. I don't want anyone to do that to me. And I believe that love is just really, think about like how many people like or like like unexpected love situations, right, with some people. You're like, I wouldn't see that happening, but then it works for them, right? Because love is,
Correct.
it's a frequency, it's a feeling, it's a deep thing. And again, there's different things, love and lust, and
Mm-hmm.
they are very different, and sometimes you can have both. Rare sometimes, because sometimes one is more powerful than the other. So for me, I think that I just love to lead with love. So it's been sort of like an open book for me, you know.
Okay. And where is, for the people, where is that book now?
I actually want to keep my private life offline. So
Fair enough again. Interesting.
I learned the hard way already with that.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, but I'm happy.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Um, I will kind of we talked about like a lot of things and healing journey and whatnot. Very simple question towards the end right here. What are your hobbies?
Gardening.
We got that one.
Okay, so my hobbies are very like not glamorous. Like I love gardening. I like packing my little ice chest with a sandwich, some orange juice, some water, going to the beach and just watching the sunset in some hoodies. I
Okay.
love very long drives down the countryside. Like this is literally like my thing. I
Mm-hmm.
love the beach, long drives. Well, right now I'm not doing a long drive, so I'm a little traumatized about driving, but I love scenery. So like one of my biggest hobbies is to like write or create in outdoor spaces that give me creative vibes.
You do
Beach.
have a creative mind.
Yeah.
You're that's very
Flower,
interesting.
the park. There's also a place that I go to where there's like all these ducks and it's
Mm-hmm.
so cute to see them. And my hobbies really truly include doing things like that. I love pets. Actually dog sit for a lot of friends of mine because I just love it so much and I just love the human experience. So
Yeah.
my hobbies are kind of like nerdy stuff, I guess. I don't know. I would compare to some of my friends that their hobbies are like, I don't know, let's go to Dubai or like Paris. And I'm like, it's cool, like I'm down, but some of my hobbies really truly include like, a lot of outdoor things,
Mm-hmm.
I love um, anything where I can kind of just clear my mind and be creative, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And gardening
Absolutely.
is this huge gardening was a hobby that turned into something, if that makes sense. Because it was just
Yeah.
kind of like my safe space. Like I always say, the garden knows all my secrets, you know? And yeah, I would say that those are my hobbies. My hobbies are very down to earth, you
Okay.
know. I
That's
love
amazing.
a cup of coffee with I love a cup of coffee with, a friend. I'll sit and talk to I am, this is something that I do that I don't post publicly. Once in a while I'll talk about it, but I volunteer at an elderly home, you know,
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
I love hearing stories, and that is a life fulfilling hobby for me.
Mm.
I'll sit at a store and let somebody talk their head off to me because you know what? I might have made their whole day.
Possibly, yeah.
You know how many people like really lonely in this world, and I'm not talking about like trauma dumping conversation for a
Mm-hmm.
conversation. But if you ever like, I don't know, let's go to the store or something, you'll notice some elderly, like I have a really huge, huge, huge passion for the elderly, especially seeing my father get older and he's sick and he's going through a lot. I'm his part-time caretaker, so I've learned a lot about things, in general. If you just sit and talk and like listen to either a child talk to you and tell you stuff or an elderly person, you will learn a lot and you will also be like learn humility very fast because the way that they see life, the way I see a child sees life, the way someone that's elderly, you get a lot of really amazing stories from the elderly. And you also get some from children and they're honest and they see everything as like, wow, life is amazing. It's
Indeed.
in our journey, we lost that. And so for me, I try to do anything that heals my inner child. That is my hobby. It heals my inner child to go to the park, to watch, the sunset at the beach, all the things that kind of make me go, wow, that's beautiful, And someone might think they're nerdy, but I think they're cool. Like it makes me happy. It's healing my inner child, and that's very important to me.
Okay. Okay. I love it.
Yeah.
So my show wouldn't be my show without this part right here. Hearing your story, resilience. When you seeing this, what does that mean to you? What message you have around it? That's kind of like the main reason why I came up with kind of like this.
Yeah.
Um, Talk to me.
Well, resilience has a lot of different meanings to different people.
Hmm.
I feel like resilience is now I'm not, I'm gonna go deep with this one. Okay.
Please
Now,
do.
resilience for me, I say this often. My scars and my wounds and my trauma is not a badge of honor. I do not want to be resilient. I
Mm.
do not always want to be a warrior.
Hmm.
Although this is what God made me, it's very tiring at the idea that specifically people, POC, have to be resilient. You have to go through pain to, win. No, we don't. We are tired. People are tired. Now, resilience is important in order to win in life, right? And
Indeed.
whatever winning means to you is different, right? Winning could mean just getting up to take a shower because you've been depressed. Winning could mean getting your promotion. Winning could be getting your guests that you've always dreamt of having on your show. It has so many different meanings for people. But true resilience is finding the will, even in through your darkest hours, to keep going.
I love it.
And that,
It. I love
and
it.
that doesn't have to mean, I'm sorry, I'm very passionate about this.
Go, bro.
And that doesn't mean one thing. Remember, I was saying, don't follow the crowd, they're all lost? Some people, when they think of resilience, they feel like, oh, I got to go through all these things. They make you tougher. They make you learn. You know what? We're letting that go. That is generational trauma that has been put onto us. We don't want to go through shit no more, man. But
I,
find
I, I
the
love it.
will to get through it. That's resilience. And that doesn't have to be just one way. It could be, again, you woke up and maybe you made yourself a sandwich, a glass of water, because you haven't gotten out of bed for days because you don't feel good. Maybe it could mean that you overcame your biggest fear. It's not a one size fits all journey,
Mm.
but resilience also means that you also understand that you are worthy of peace and you do not have to constantly be going through trauma and things that hurt you in the name of resilience. It does not have to be your badge of honor. You are bigger, you are better, and you will be fine in the end. And that's what resilience means to me.
Mm.
Never giving up, but in different ways.
I love it. Interesting. Which is why I always kind of like go with this. Different angles, different way of viewing it. Very interesting way that you have. I love it. What's next for you? So many things going on, from music to gardening to wellness to your closet to so many ventures. What's next? Acting, new artists, new music,
Mm,
something else that we don't know, and then we'll be surprised. A book. Your life is worthy of a book at this point.
mhm.
Maybe two, three. Who knows?
Couple
I
chapters.
mean, couple.
0 to 5 years old. Five.
No, but where do you see your brand, you yourself? What's next?
So, in the creative space, we'll talk in points, right?
Hmm.
In the creative space, I am working on a music project,
Okay.
and I am carefully crafting it because originally it was actually supposed to come out last year, but I had a bit of a bump in the road, and I have been working on it on the back end, which is fine. Again, it's my moment to pivot and to use all of these traumatic experiences and put them in song. So I'm working on new music. My goal is to release a record by August. I mean, I could release it now, but I've got some changes I want to make to some things, and I'm also creatively, what do I want to follow up from Todo Va a Estar Bien? And Todo Va a Estar Bien is a record also about pushing through the darkness, because that's what I was going through and what I am going through, pushing through the darkness, pushing through all of the trials and tribulations. And in the end, everything will be okay. It just depends what that is and means to you.
Hmm.
And this is part of the project. So new music for sure. And the tone is very much todo va a estar bien.
Okay.
Acting. I just had a lot of I usually don't like to announce things, pre-announce things, but I'm definitely have never let go of that. And I'm going back to my roots of where I started. And I love acting. I love theater. I'm a big theater girl, so that's like kind of like my jam. The Smize closet is always going to develop, and now that I've kind of gone into this new space, I'm actually inspired to do something a little bit different with it. So it will be growing, as you'll notice. I love fashion, but also it goes bigger. The reseller market is a huge billion-dollar industry that I know I can be successful at, and that I already am at, because I was very successful in e-commerce. So now I'm transitioning that into a different type of a platform, QVC, you know, Poshmark, eBay, all of those platforms.
Hmm.
And gardening is a really big piece of my heart, and I want to develop that into a big brand. And I'm talking, cookware, cooking
Okay.
utensils, books on recipes that are healthy, books on recipes that are maybe not healthy, but they're traditional.
Yeah.
I'm learning to, well, I used to speak a couple of other languages a lot more fluently, but I'm relearning to speak, different languages so that I can do this. I spent a lot of time in Italy, so I will be doing a cookbook and involve a lot of Italian recipes.
Yeah.
And this is very, very important to me, because I want to teach people again, like, that this space is also for people of color too. It's also for people that are just starting, maybe people that are curious. You know, it's a bit of a growing and evolving brand. So the garden brand, my plants, and the cooking, this all falls under wellness. So I'm really excited to develop that. And as far as my wellness and beauty brand, shop this fits me .com, and that's this fits me. I plan to develop that and tie it into the wellness space of the gardening. And we started with the bath and body line, and we're going to keep growing it. We had a very successful run with our veggie boxes and our citrus boxes. So we want to take that to the next level, and I would like to grow a really big, you know, home and garden type of brand for us, for the beginners, for everyone, for people that are advanced, maybe people that have apartments, people that have homes, like urban gardens, like all of this will tie into wellness, because gardening is incredible for your mental health. I cannot begin to tell you how many times I'll go out to the garden when I don't feel good. I'm out there for an hour and I come back and I feel like I can take over the world.
I believe that.
The grounding, the oxygen of the plants is all very healing. And this is something that I wanted to find for my own healing. And yeah, these are just really the top things that I'm working on right now. My new music, acting, but more like the arts, the theater and arts
Mhm.
aspect of it. So it just doesn't end with just acting. The wellness brand goes together with the gardening, you know,
Sure.
goes with the cooking. And I definitely do want to write a book. And I have been writing for many years, but it took a very long time for me to get into this mental space where I've let go of a lot of things. Remember, I was mentioning how I let go of the idea that healing is a destination?
Yeah.
That's when I first started writing my book. I felt like it was like going back and reading it, I'm like, okay, this is definitely going to make the book to show an example of kind of the evolution of healing.
Hmm.
I was writing it from an angry space versus these things had to happen in life because now I can see how that helps me over here. And I thought it was a destination. So I'm like, why am I not healed from this? Like I've been putting in the work. Well, you'll never be. So it's going to be a very honest book about a lot of things that I went through too, like childhood traumas. You know, I ran away when I was 10 years old and I literally lived on the streets from when I was 10. And I saw a lot of darkness out there, but I learned to protect myself, to take care of myself. I always looked older, so people had no idea I was 10. I looked like I was 18. You know, I had my
Wow.
first job when I was young. I mean, I literally have been through a lot. However, all of those are like learning lessons that I feel like could go into this book. So I'm writing this book about my life in chapters. It's going to be book one, two, and three. And it's basically going to, it will all make sense once you kind of go through it. Ideally, the book isn't written because I don't know, I want to write a book about myself. Like, I don't really care to. Actually, reliving the trauma isn't fun.
Not
but
at all.
it's I want to write it to give more people insight who have maybe not found their healing space. Maybe you're looking for inspiration. I always tell people all the time, hey man, if you're going through something, just take a page out of my book, literally from the story you see. If I can make it out, you can make it too. Because I I didn't give up and we're not giving up. And that's what I feel that is the like easiest thing for us to do. But this is also for the people that did give up and they're no longer with us. This is literally a prayer, a piece of something someone can read that maybe is in a dark space to say, oh my gosh, I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep pushing through because you matter. You're worthy. You are intelligent. You matter in this world. And I just want to be a part of that. That's my goal in life.
Love it. I love it. Okay. Um, Let me see. That's kind of where we can find you and see more of your links and whatnot, which
Yeah.
is very interesting. So this is the last part of kind of like my show.
Hmm.
Um, this is how I ended up being in front of you today.
Shout out
Um,
to my homegirl Chrissy.
Indeed. So the same thing I asked Chrissy, I'm going to ask you. Where I was like, this is kind of like a dream that I'm trying to keep going and whatnot, and to keep the dream going. Kind of, I'm asking you,
Hmm.
who do you feel would be one person, two would be a good fit for here? Here's the thing: you could say it now. You don't have to. You could think about it. Tell me later.
Hmm.
Kind of like the end of it, pretty much though. Now I have some guests who would like give me some ideas like up in here
Yeah.
and whatnot.
I
Chrissy
will
was
tell
very
you
intentional about you.
later. I will tell you later. Oh, that's she's so sweet. Now I will tell you later because I could definitely say Chrissy, but she's already been here. Um, because I am constantly promoting this healing space. So I would love for you to have more of me's
Hmm.
on these spaces because I feel like this is like very different than like
Hmm.
norm. Um, and that is something that I feel is really incredible for the world to hear. And we are so blessed to be able to get online and have these podcasts and put our stories for the world to hear. So we need more healing in the world. And that's what I would love to see you have more of. And I would love to have and I know a couple of people already off the top of my head. I know authors, I know people in the TED Talk space. All of these are spaces that I feel that are voices that don't get heard a lot because it's not popular, to be,
Mhm.
whole healing, and it should be. And we have to do our best to put it out there. And it's the only way that we can kind of spread the word and spread kindness and sprinkle a little bit of kindness glitter everywhere we go. You know what I mean?
Indeed. Yes, yes, yes.
Because we all need it. I mean,
Absolutely.
we all need it. Listen, when I'm having a bad day, honestly, my best friend will be like, what's hilarious about Chrissy? So when Chrissy was like telling me about my closet, and she's like, yeah, she's like, go on Poshmark because you can just expand your line or whatever. And she's like, and you know what? Get rid of it. Get rid of all your words. Every time I talk to her, she's like, get rid of it, Samaya. I don't want to hear it. Get rid of it. But if you think about it, that's the purge of life. Get rid of it.
Yeah,
Heal. And it feels really good to be able to spread kind of those things in the world. So I would love to have you have more of people like myself. But I don't like to impose my healing ways to other people. But if you're open to it, I do have some people that are very interesting, um, all walks of life. And I feel like maybe, that could, we keep planting these little seeds,
we could. I mean,
planting seeds.
it's very interesting. Open to it for sure. And really quick story, really like when I'm starting this and whatnot, and
Mhm.
I'm getting like 200 views in my first video, and I'm like, and to almost get like 100,000 like subscribers and whatnot, and keep pushing and whatnot, where I'm like, oh, people pay attention,
Yeah.
and which is interesting. Um, so it makes me want to just learn, and even through your journey, Chris's journey. Obviously, it's never really an interview about me. It's more about like you and your journey and whatnot. But taking notes, mental notes, and soaking it in like a sponge. So it's really, it was very interesting. Your story, experience, journey, um, how you view things, how
Hmm.
you trying to approach things overall. Um, Authenticity, honesty, genuine, um, just being kind. That's amazing. That's really amazing. Congrats to you for everything you've accomplished so far and what you are going to accomplish moving forward. I'm pretty sure there's a lot coming
Thank
up.
you. Thank you.
Um,
But congratulations to you.
thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations to you for stepping out into the world
Thank
and
you.
going. And like you said, you started with 300 views. Guess what?
Hmm.
Some videos will get 100, 200, 500, 1,000, 10,000. You just got to keep going.
Pretty much.
You got to keep going, keep learning, and you're doing it. You have a
Mm,
very positive space that you provide, and that's very important because there's like I always tell people, there's somebody for everybody out there.
indeed.
There's somebody for everybody, and I'm proud of you for stepping out.
Thank
You know,
you.
and
Thank you.
you,
Trying.
yeah, we're all trying. Okay, we're all trying.
Indeed.
I feel like every day that I wake up, I'm trying.
I'm trying.
I'm doing it. I'm like, hey, you know what? I woke up. I'm alive. I've got tomatoes that I'm gonna make some kind of delicious dish with. I've got water. We're okay.
Absolutely.